Hi, Aaron. Great to meet you. Such a pleasure. You know, look, looking on YouTube and some of the things you've done with Nitro Circuit is so amazing. So, thank you so much for doing the motivation, the inspiration during these challenging times. It's such a pleasure to meet you. So, please tell me how you got started.
I first started going to skate parks back in 2000. I grew up with my older brother, who was always a big, skater or biker, and just watching him really inspired me. And we loved actually watching X Games, and it just always looked like a lot of fun. And I ended up going to the skate park with my brother one day just to watch him ride his bike, and then he actually came over and invited me to, come into the skate park with my wheelchair, and he was probably trying to hurt me, but he got me up to the top of a ramp, and I remember sitting at the top of this like 3-4 foot quarter pipe, and just terrified. And couple face plants later, I rolled away from it.
Fantastic. What motivates you to do these kind of things? Being up at that top ramp, 50 foot, such a drop, and do you practice for it, or is it just something that you just go for it?
Well, when it comes to the big ramp, there's not usually a lot of practice time. It's usually get up and go, which makes it a bit more intimidating. So usually, when Nitro sets up the ramp or whatever, and I want to try something new, I gotta just take advantage of the time that I have and just go for it.
What was the feeling like when you did your first somersault or backflip, front flip? What was that like for the first time in doing it? That must have been so exhilarating.
Yeah, the first time I did backflip, it was like unreal. And when I actually landed it, it was a whole new feeling. But then eventually, like on the big ramp, I started doing front flips, just because it was like the next trick in the progression. And man, like I was terrified of trying the front flip, because I was like, am I gonna just dive into the gap, and like what's gonna happen here? But it turns out it's actually easier to land, which is kind of weird.
Wow. You're a pioneer for wheelchair motocross, and a lot of it all started from yourself. How do you inspire others to do that, and how's it got bigger and bigger?
Oh man, it's been really cool to see like how much WCMX has grown over the years. Because I remember just being the only guy on a chair, at least in Vegas, riding in parks and stuff. And I always dreamed about one day being able to ride with other people on chairs. And so, to see where it's at now is just unreal. See like kids going out with their chairs, and seeing it more as a bike or a skateboard rather than just like a medical device. Now I call it a shreddical device, but it's cool to see how it's grown and seeing it
Right.
just going out.
Wow. You're 4 times world champion. There must be more competition out there now to really push you as a competitor yourself.
Sorry, say that again.
Obviously you're 4 times wheelchair motocross champion. Is there more competition now? Is the competition a lot harder now?
It's well, I don't want to be that guy, but it's actually 5 times.
Oh, sorry. Beg your pardon.
No, but it's been cool to see. There's a few guys that are definitely giving me a run for my money. There's a guy named Tony, and there's just like multiple people like doing hand plants and like backflips and stuff. So it's cool to see the sport grow, even though it makes me worry about my job security.
But that's obviously good for the sport, though, is it? And hopefully one day that'll be in the Paralympics. You started the Rio Paralympics or Olympics, and it's pushing on from there all the time. So what happened? That must really be something that you're aiming for, and really you must be really proud of.
Yeah, to get WCMX into the Paralympics would just be unreal. And, you know, having the opportunity to do the opening ceremony in Rio and to have the Olympic Channel actually do a documentary on WCMX, it's, you know, it's cool because I think that spotlight is really what's needed to help kind of push it forward and get it out, you know, get it out in front of people more and hopefully make it happen before I'm too old to compete.
I mean, yeah, you inspire so many people, and I know you've been over to the UK, and as I said, a lot of participants, especially from our sport, wheelchair basketball, love what you do, and and a lot of them are going into that sport as well, and because it's so enjoyable and such a pleasure to see that people are just going out and having a great time doing it. What would you say to young people who are in school who have a disability, who are wheelchair users, and want to go out and join their friends at the skate park and just go for it?
Yeah, I would say, like, first of all, wear a helmet. Um, but second, just like, start small and just like have fun. A lot of people think they can't start going to the skate park because they don't have the right wheelchair for it. And I would say, eventually it is important to have the right equipment. But I think just to give it a shot, just like going into the skate park and pushing around and just kind of getting a feel for it can't hurt anything, right?
I mean, do you design your own chair as well now? Is that something you're looking at, how to get more out of your chair to do the more extreme stunts?
Yeah, so over the years, I've been working with Mike Box, who, started Box Wheelchairs, and you know, being able to work with him and learn from him on like how it's done, and I'm just now starting to get into building chairs at home. So he's teaching me, all of his tricks, and I'm, trying to learn the trade and trying to figure it out. But I've seen that it's really cool to be able to kind of have some control over like the way I do things to, maybe make more tricks possible or whatever.
Where thinking about, obviously, we're talking about motivation, inspiration. Why is inclusion and adaptive sports so important?
For me, I feel like it's really important because I always felt like I wasn't adaptive. I was just another athlete, just out there having fun. And I think it's important to have that inclusion because, all these wheelchair athletes have their goals and their dreams, just like any other athlete. And I think, just because they do it a little differently doesn't make them less, of an athlete. And I think, you know, having that inclusion would just be like the main dream, just having it
Wow.
all out there.
I mean, thinking of everything you've achieved so far, what's your fondest moment or achievement?
For me, my happiest moment I would say was it was like July 20th of 2018, and I actually was able to set 3 Guinness World Records in about an hour and a
Wow.
half. Guinness World Records came out to Woodward, and we're on the mega ramp, and I got the distance jump on a wheelchair, so I flew like 70 feet on the chair. That was unreal. That was something I'd been wanting to do for so long. To be able to survive that was cool.
I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, are you planning to do more shows and work more with Nitro Circus and do more in the future? What are the plans, or is everything? I know everything at the moment is in lockdown, but what are you looking to do?
Yeah, I mean everything's all up in the air right now, so hopefully when everything settles back down, we'll be able to get back on the road, do some more of what we love to do, entertaining people and scaring ourselves to death.
Is there any plans to come over to the UK again?
Oh, I hope so. I feel like the UK crowds are extra rowdy, so it'd be nice to come out there and do some more shows at like the O2 or something.
Fantastic. Okay, I mean, you know, obviously we're in lockdown, and you know we're trying to support motivation and inspiration for people at home, and the medical staff are doing a fantastic job on the front line with the key workers as well. What would your message be to support the medical staff and key workers and the people at home?
I'd say, first of all, it's easy to get caught up in all of the negative that's going on and, all the things that you can't do. But I mean, for me personally, I've enjoyed the lockdown time to be able to spend time, working on, getting better, building wheelchairs or, taking the time to regroup and gather myself. But I would say just really try to focus on what you can still do and all the positives there are because there's a lot. And to the medical workers, I'd just like to say thank you. Keep up the good work. We need you.
And finally, Aaron, and you know, and thinking about quotes, I mean, you know, what quote would you use for motivation, inspiration to support these challenging times, and why?
I I would say when life gives you a wheelchair, find your skate park. Just kind of, for me, it was going out and riding parks, and that brought me a lot of joy. And you know, my wheelchair was just kind of this symbol of freedom for me. But I think just in anyone's life, just take that struggle and look for the positive and look for what you can do.
Aaron, it's a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much. And you know, I've got utmost respect for me for you to do those kind of flips and just go that down that ramp. It must be unreal. I would never do it, but you know, I'm quite happy to come and watch you do it. So thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you, and hopefully one day we'll meet you at one of your shows. That'd be great. All right. Thank you so much, Aaron. You take care and stay safe.
Man, thank you.
And you take care. Bye bye.
Yeah.